So recently, Sam's Club just released a new Pokemon product. It was a Prismatic Evolutions Elite Trainer Box with a Pokeball. So in this video, I want to talk about that drop, some interesting things to know about the Sam's Club drop, and talk about Prismatic Evolutions, prices, and those sorts of things. So hopefully, if you guys maybe just were wanting to open some Prismatic Evolutions at retail, hopefully you guys were able to find any at any stores, any Sam's Clubs near you. If you were going to scalp, so be it, right? It is what it is. For me, if you're wondering, hey, Vapor Self, did you scalp these? No, I did not. I didn't even think about it, to be honest. I just went on Facebook Marketplace. I saw a bunch of people having large amounts of this stuff, and I'm not going to get caught up in the whole mess of scalping, a bunch of people in line for Pokemon stuff. I'm not about that, right? For me, what I've been doing, which you guys probably know, is I buy from the scalpers, right? I buy from Facebook Marketplace where people scalp, all the products. I buy from them. I don't go to these stores, clear out shelves. I guess you could say they're doing the dirty work and I'm just buying it from them. That's sort of what I do. I don't go out and just, clear out shelves. There was this one instance I've mentioned previously with the Sea and Sky boxes. That's like the only thing I've really ever scalped. But during that time, the market was a bit different because they were literally just sitting there. So I'm like, why not? And I bought them. So that was pretty much the only time I've scalped. But during this whole crazy market, I really haven't done any scalping. And the only product I was able to find at retail was Journey Together. And I just ended up opening them up. So in that way, I guess I didn't really scalp. So this whole scalping thing, not really for me. I'm not going to get caught up in it. But hey, if you did, you did it. And I guess it is what it is, right? But moving on to the actual topic of this video, I wanted to first talk about a few things with this drop that is worth noting, and I will go towards, my final say with the pricing and stuff, because it has my perspective has changed a bit from what I said previously, where prices I see might dropping to. So you can see already it's started to drop in just a few days. It's dropped from 111 all the way down to 101. So it's already dropped $10 in just a few days, because obviously these just got dropped and people are getting them at these warehouses. And yeah, they're obviously dropping for that reasoning. People are dumping them and we're seeing prices fall, which is obviously not surprising. But one thing that is interesting to note here is the quantities, right? That is actually being, produced or was produced for Sam's Club. So apparently, right, there's been 120,000 total units that's been produced, of this bundle. Now, if you want to do, case quantities and just get that number, obviously it'd be like 12,000 cases. Can you just divide by 10? So take 10 out. So this is a pretty large drop. One thing to note is I'm pretty sure for the Costco drop, it was like around 80,000 or something around there. So I think this is actually more than the Costco drop. I believe that's true. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong about that, but I believe it was around 80,000 or something. But regardless, this is just a large amount of Prismatic Evolutions ETBs that will get put into the market. Obviously, there will be people that will just open this up. Not everybody, and this is something to note because I feel like in some people's minds, they get the wrong idea of this. Some people think, 120,000 units, that's all going to get flipped and scalped. No. Yeah, there's going to be scalpers. There's a lot of scalpers. I totally agree. But there are going to also just be people opening this, stuff up, because people have been waiting and been wanting to open product at MSRP. And obviously this is, under MSRP per product. So it's even a better deal. So people that have been wanting to open stuff up may just be opening, these bundles. So just know with this number, it is a large number, and that will take into, consideration with what I say here with the pricing and what I believe this may potentially drop to. And it has changed right from the last video I make. So if you comment down below and you say, hey, you said this before, it was going to drop to this, why you changing your mind? Well, here are the numbers. I didn't know that the numbers were like this. So therefore, obviously, when I say now what the price might drop to, it'll be a little bit different than back then, because we have this new information. Apparently, 120,000 units were produced of this product, which is a pretty large amount. Now, one thing I also wanted to let you guys know, if you were wondering what is actually inside of this Pokeball, I don't know if the tins are all the same code, because if you can see under the tins, they have this like code, which could be, for like a fall, spring, or something like that. Like there's some codes under there, right, that shows, the dates and stuff. if you're wondering what packs are in here, I searched up a opening. Here it shows Temporal, Stellar, it seems, and Surging Sparks. But if you actually watch this opening I just found on TikTok, you can see here what is actually inside of here. It's different than what's shown. It's Paradox, Paradox, and Temporal, which is different than what they show here. They show Surging. I'm pretty sure that's Stellar and Temporal. So that is what's in one of these. That was a, I believe, what kind of, was it an Ultra Ball? Yeah, it was an Ultra Ball. So that's what's in that one. And it seems like something with H24. I think it was H24. So I don't know if they're all H24s and that's exactly what's inside of each one, but that's just like this little bit of information of what is in there. You can search up maybe some more videos that will come out to see if it's consistent with the 2 Paradox and 1 Temporal. But yeah, this is some pretty big, things to take into consideration, is the amount of products being produced. Because obviously if this was a smaller number, I would say that it wouldn't drop as much. But with this new information, I want to speak about, in my opinion, what I think may happen and why. And this is all predictions. I'm not going to be 100% correct all the time. While the last prediction with the Costco drop, I was pretty spot on with my guesses of where it was going to land at. I'll give you guys my, own opinion on the pricing. But it is also worth noting, and I want to talk about this too, Sam's Club has a huge problem with not setting pretty strict limits. Costco has done a pretty good job, right, at limiting stuff to maybe 2 per person, per membership, whatever. Sam's Club does not have that. Like you can see here, it's limit 10 per membership, and I'm pretty sure you can order 5 times. I saw another post where I think it was 50 per membership, so you could order 5 times and order 10 each time, which I think is pretty ridiculous. Obviously, it'd probably be pretty hard to do that. Maybe there's some bots that can do it. I don't really know, right? But that is kind of crazy that they haven't limited to maybe 2 or 3 per person, which I think, or even per membership possibly, I think would be good. But it's kind of surprising they've set the limit pretty high, which I think they probably shouldn't have done. They probably should have made it smaller, obviously, to sort of reduce the amount of scalping possible, because around my area, I've been seeing some people with 15 to 20 of these. So yeah, I don't know what Sam's Club is doing, but I guess they don't really care about, trying to spread the product around to everybody. Because yes, you could call me an evil investor and stuff. Yes, whatever. But I do advocate for having limits. I think that is probably good for this space right now. I don't think that these no limits or high amount that you can buy is a good thing. I don't think it is. And I don't know why Sam's Club hasn't done that. It seems like Walmart doesn't have, because Sam's Club is part of Walmart. It just seems like Walmart doesn't care about, setting limits and stuff. It seems like it's almost like a free-for-all. They could care less. But Target seems to be more fair, and it seems like they take more, not really precautions, but more, I don't know, stricter, rules or whatever with purchasing product. Seems like a lot of more Targets are on that sort of thing where they're 2 per person or something. But Walmart and Sam's Club, they seem like they just don't care. But yeah, that's kind of interesting that they decided not to limit it down to even less than what this is, because I think this is still a large amount. And I've seen people literally saying that a whole pallet got cleared out by 2 people. Some stores may have higher limits, in warehouses. It might be higher than this, because I'm pretty sure this is for online. So yeah, it's pretty crazy that Sam's Club has set no limits. But now, the end of this video, I want to talk about pricing, right? Because I previously stated I didn't think they would go any lower than the Costco drop, where they were at, and I thought maybe they would even end up being a little bit higher than the Costco drop when ETBs dropped to $95. I thought maybe they'd only drop to 100. Well, obviously you can see here they've already dropped to 100. So I'm gonna make my price prediction now, and I'm gonna explain why. I'm not saying you could go back to this video in a few weeks or whatever and see if I was right or not, but this is just my prediction. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. It's my prediction. So if you look at what happened with the Costco drop, right? Like I said, I think it might have been 80,000 units. It was some amount that was pretty big, right? Prices dropped to about $95, okay? And that was from 115. So it dropped from 115 to $95. And when it hit $95, it only stayed there for about a couple of days. And after it hit $95. You can see the trajectory here. It went straight up, right? Went straight up, started climbing back, and it pretty much stagnated at like 110. And just recently, it started to go back down, obviously. But if you look at the time frame here for it to go all the way down to $95, it wasn't that much time. It was about what, 2 weeks from May 26th to about June 7th. That's about 2 weeks it took for it to reach its bottom. So a couple weeks. And how long did it take to go back up? You can see here, June 7th, all the way to about right here. It took about like a couple of weeks as well. So it took about 2 weeks to go down, bottom out, and 2 weeks to go back up. And this was, this drop was towards the beginning of the summer, right? Which I guess is worth noting because now we're like smack dab in the summer. So it is a little bit of a different market, you could say, maybe with sales. So now I'll, I guess, make my prediction and explain where I think these prices will go and why. So looking at this, right, it went from 115 to around 95. It took 2 weeks to go back up. Looking now, right, it's only been a few days since we got this drop. Prices may drop a bit further, okay? But where will they drop? So we're already obviously seeing a slight increase of sales. This is like the one day where it went down a good bit, right? And obviously it's an increase in sales versus the other days. I think, right, considering we're more towards the middle of the summer right now, right? There seems to be a lot of this product, 120,000 units, right? Who knows how much is getting scalped versus open? Who knows, right? But I think it's possible, looking at what happened on the previous drop and what's happening now, I think this may possibly go back down to where this was at 95, maybe go to 90. So I'm guessing, this is my prediction, I could be wrong, $90 to $95. I think that's where it bottoms. That's my opinion. I think it may go a bit further because, we are starting at a little bit of a lower price point at 110 versus here it was at like 115, and then it dropped to 95. Here we're dropping from 110, and we just came off of a restock just recently, and we're smack dab in the middle of summer. So I think it's possible prices go a little bit lower than last time, or maybe they just bottom out around the same amount at $95. Now, I think it will not hold and be there for a long time when it bottoms out. I think it will be a similar pattern to the most recent, drop, the Costco drop that we got. I think it will just take a few weeks for it to find a bottom. And I think a few weeks after that, I think it will start going back up. I think the same cycle is going to happen, right? But I think it may sort of be a little bit slower than last time, right? I don't think, maybe it'll be like 2 weeks that when it bottoms out, maybe it'll stay there for a week or so and then it'll go up. But here on the, the Costco drop, it pretty much was just like, a week later after it bottomed out, it was already, going back up to like $110. But I do think they're not going to stay down for a very long time. I think people will be buying them out when it hits, potentially $90, $95. I think at that price point, we're going to see a huge increase in sales. And for me, and for you guys out there, I've been saying this whole time, restocks, any of these restocks, I would be buying. I bought on the last restock, right, from Costco's. I bought PC ETBs on every restock. And for this one, if I can find, ETBs for $85 or less, around that range, I'm going to be buying more. One thing that I don't like about this bundle versus, I didn't even buy any of the Costco bundles, to be honest. I just bought just loose ETBs. I don't like buying, or I really don't want to buy this bundle, even if I'm buying it, on Facebook Marketplace, because it includes a Pokeball, an Ultra Ball, whatever, that doesn't have Prismatic. I don't want temporal or Paradox loose packs. Yeah, loose packs still go for money and stuff, but I don't like holding, these packs of like just loose packs, because I don't know if I'd want to keep, I guess I could keep them sealed like these like bundles, but if I was going to break them down, I don't want to have like all these like Pokeball, Poketins or whatever. If I were to break them down, I don't want to have loose packs. That's not my thing. I'm not a loose pack person. I just like having sealed product. So for me, I don't like spending the extra money or whatever on these other packs. I would only really just buy the ETB loose itself. But on that other Costco drop, it was just Prismatic product, the booster bundle and the ETB. So that's one thing I don't like about this drop. But people may just sell off their other Prismatic loose ETBs. Maybe some people will break them down to just sell the ETBs. I don't know. But for me, I probably wouldn't buy the bundle. I'm just going to buy straight up ETBs. But that's just me. But hey, if you want to buy the bundles, you find a good deal from somebody selling them on Facebook Marketplace, you can maybe just open the other packs for fun, keep the Prismatic for yourself, whatever you want to do. But for me, I'm probably not going to be buying the bundles. I'm just buying straight up ETBs. But that's just sort of my plan. So I'll see. I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace to see if I can find any of these ETBs for $85, $90, and I'm still not able to find any. That one, or the couple of, sellers I was able to find a few weeks ago or whatever, I'm not finding any more sellers selling loose ETBs for anywhere under like market price at this point. So I'm just waiting around. I'm sort of being patient because I'm already pretty content with how much Prismatic I have. But if I find another opportunity, I'll definitely make a video about it. But I am looking. I'm always looking. Any of these restocks I'm buying, especially ETBs. I'm all for buying ETBs. And I just think this is another opportunity that people should be taking. But, I think there will still be this misconception that Pokemon's going to print even more and more and more. Even though when you look at just past recent history, we got restocks of ETBs at card stores, right? We got Costco drop of Prismatic Evolutions. Now we're getting huge amounts of, Prismatic ETBs at Sam's Clubs, And I think from this, people will still think more and more and more is coming. Guys, this is already a ton of Prismatic that Pokemon has printed and gone out to retail stores. Big box stores specifically, because obviously Costco and Sam's Club, these are specific to those places. They're not going to card stores. So it is worth noting there's still a large amount of product that has been printed of Prismatic that some people may not acknowledge. So it's just worth noting that Prismatic Evolutions, it is being printed, you could say heavily, because think about it, we just got these Costco drops literally just like a month and a half ago, and we just got even more at Sam's Club. So Pokemon is putting more product out there, but this doesn't mean it's going to continue. It's possible Pokemon up the printing maybe on Prismatic just in recently, and they may start printing other things as well. But who knows what Pokemon's really going to do, or where their mind's at. But it is worth noting that they have come out with these products pretty close together, seemingly obviously to get more product out there. And it is worth noting that it seems like they have been putting attention to it. So don't think that this is going to keep happening, because look at how many other things Pokemon needs to print, right? It just seems like Prismatic right now, they have put some attention to, got some product out there, I guess spreading them out within like a few months of each other. And we'll see what Pokemon does with Prismatic after this, right? I did make previous, comparisons to other specialty sets in Scarlet and Violet, and how after being printed and showing up at these wholesale places like Costco, for example, with 151 ETBs, right? Pokemon at that point stopped printing ETBs for those sets. And if it holds true with this, where maybe this is one of the last times you see ETBs on retail shelves, I think this would be a great opportunity to buy on this dip. And it's possible that after these, Pokemon just might print some other products, because that's what Pokemon has been doing for a lot of these specialty sets. Seems like ETBs aren't their main priority, and they print these specifically into the ground. It seems like they usually target booster bundles, these other collection boxes, to get product out. We are also getting the figure collection of Prismatic to get more packs out there as well. So I would be very shocked if Pokemon decides to keep reprinting ETBs over and over again, when recently we have just gotten 2 large amounts of Prismatic Evolutions ETBs at retail stores. So that's all I want to talk about here. Hope you guys enjoyed. You guys can let me know if you are picking up any ETBs from this restock, or are you holding out, still waiting for MSRP. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.